we create very simple journeys for consumers so that they can take action. So we're really here to present information and data in a way that builds a level of trust with you and helps you make your own decisions. So we did a bunch of user testing with Amazon and a bank here in Australia where we got to just speak to Aussies about what they cared about, what mattered. And when you looked at apps or technology or data, we wanted to cut through the BS and look at what would actually help with behaviour change.
Welcome to the Felt Experience podcast, where we discuss with some of the world's leaders and advocates how the physical environments of where we live, work and are educated can profoundly impact our physical, psychological and emotional health and well-being. I'm Melissa Henschke, founder and director of Archetypes of Interiority. Welcome to the Felt Experience. In today's episode, we will talk to Allys Todd about all things climate tech and how to use data insights and digital technologies to create impactful, positive change in the physical environments of where we live, work and are educated. Allys is the co-founder and Chief Executive of Val AI. Allys has a Bachelor of Technology, Flinders University. She has had a career in climate impact, carbon conservation and community collaboration. Allys is a shared value partnership specialist with a Prime Minister's Award for Community and Business Partnership. Allys established the world's first art event, carbon offset and carbon neutral event with Greening Australia, Arts Project Australia and WOME Adelaide, 18 years strong. Allys has also led the Conservation Council of South Australia as General Manager and facilitated the South Australian Nature Alliance. As a brain tumour survivor, Allys acts as an ambassador for Neurosurgical Research Foundation of Australia. Allys is a corporate speaker for the global organisation Women in Climate. Allys has provided thought leadership across key areas including sustainability, behaviour change, climate technology and the Task Force for Climate-Related Financial Disclosures to corporates, governments and consultancy. Having raised financial capital as a female co-founder, Allys is a strong supporter of reducing the gender investment gap and an active member of UBS Global Female Founder Collective, Climate Salad, Energy Lab and Coralus. Hello Allys, welcome to the Felt Experience.
Thanks for having me.
We're going to start with what has been your incredible career journey to get where you are now?
God, just drop it right at the beginning.
Sorry.
I have had a wild ride. I guess to go backwards, I did a degree in environmental science at Flinders University because I really loved dinosaurs and was really excited about learning about the natural world. And that opened up some great opportunities for me to do things tangibly on country, in nature and the environment, and also work with a bunch of great communities and people. But it also triggered my interest in climate and climate action and what we could be doing better here in Australia and globally. And through various different kinds of grown-up jobs I've had over the years, I'm now at a place where I'm helping to introduce new technology products to Australian consumers in order to help them look at ways in which they can create climate action themselves in their own households. It's been fun.
So you have you run a business. And it's called Val AI. How did this come about and why?
Yeah, great question. So Val AI started, my co-founder kicked it off in 2019. He is a property valuer. So from a completely different perspective from me, he was looking at creating new data sets around Aussie homes and being able to work within the banking and financial institutes with those data sets. I was introduced to the project at that time really to look at ways in which we could make this novel and differentiate in the Australian market. And for me, working within sustainability and climate, I had and was actively working for a peak body at the time advocating for the State Planning Act reform, so looking at housing and sustainability in urban environments, and was also working with institutions that were looking at greening environments, particularly built environments like cities. So for me, I contributed by bringing a lens of sustainability, natural capital and energy efficiency of homes. So really looking not just at the way that we collect data on poor or underperforming assets, but why isn't finance, insurance, property valuation and real estate considering the sustainability when they're looking at the market value of a property? So that was an opportunity for me to join the Val AI team with him right in the early stage of looking at building a product and seeing if we could test those assumptions that I had about the need for us to be looking at sustainability, energy efficiency, and also nature within the built environment into the market value and analysis of properties.
Okay, so sustainability is a buzzword. What is your version of sustainability?
Great question. It depends how deep you want to go into the ESG journey and which customer base I'm talking to. So sustainability for me is about holistic information and insights that help you make good decisions about personal wellbeing. And by personal wellbeing, I mean the wellbeing of you and other humans, but also other parts of place that you interact with, whether that be plants or animals or other parts of your built environment. So that's a broad look at sustainability, but also for me, sustainability means looking at how you can maintain the momentum of those actions that you're taking. So in the shape of a city, it's one thing to design and engineer a city to act in a certain way or be sustainable or meet some credentials. It's another to maintain momentum that once that build form's in place, what can you do to ensure that it's consistently delivering and or improving in what it's meant to be doing. So if you're looking at carbon capture, or a carbon neutral city, what does that mean now compared to what will it mean in 5 or 10 years' time? And always being able to innovate or modify what you're doing depending on the needs of the city or the people at the time.
Because carbon capture is huge. What's the social consequence of this? Because that's the environmental part, but what's the social part? How are businesses looking at the social part and integrating that in energy efficiency?
Certainly. So home comfort is probably the number one driver for Australians today and the energy bill crisis that we're in. When we talk about a sustainable home, we're not just talking about whether its thermal performance is excellent, but we're also talking about the well-being and the personal comfort of the people and the pets that live within that environment. That's really, really important because we know in Australia today, those people that are living in older homes that perhaps are really poor performing assets, quite often they're individuals that don't want to turn the heater or the air conditioning on, and they're the ones that are in the most likely to be either of an older age group or in a more financially stressed environment. So they already have considerable barriers to health and happiness existing in their life anyway. And then if you add being in a home that is too cold or too hot, you're also creating health problems for those individuals as well. So sustainability really comes down to the comfort of the individuals in our community and keeping people safe.
So are there any actions that you're taking to help those vulnerable people?
Yeah, certainly. So Val AI have built some software tools that help banks and insurers speak directly to their current customers in order for them to help their customers make a decision on what actions or interventions they can take now. So we're not just focusing on working with newly built properties. So we don't work with developers just on what future landscapes can look like. Val AI provides services now that, for example, can allow a person with their bank to identify how their home is performing now, how it compares to other Australian homes, and then also tells them the first action they could take, including the return on investment, financial paybacks, and also how much it could significantly reduce their electricity bills and the cost of living for them. So we create very simple journeys for consumers so that they can take action. So we're really here to present information and data in a way that builds a level of trust with you and helps you make your own decisions. So we did a bunch of user testing with Amazon and a bank here in Australia where we got to just speak to Aussies about what they cared about, what mattered. And when you looked at apps or technology or data, we wanted to cut through the BS and look at what would actually help with behaviour change. And there are some patterns with Australians in that we want to be presented with data that backs up our beliefs, but we also need it to be kept really, really simple because in this space there's a lot of jargon, there's a lot of information, people get overwhelmed. And more importantly, Aussies love to check things first and validate it with their social norms. So what that means is if you're told you should be installing a heat pump in your house, what you want to be able to do is take it to the bowls club, speak it to your neighbour, tell someone at the pub, and be seen as that thought leader in your social group so that they can see you as having a level of expertise. And you also want to check with your mum whether that sounds good, or your dad first before you make a decision. So triggering a behaviour change or an action in order to keep our homes safe and healthy also mean giving the information to you and you being able to go away and make your own decisions. So Val AI have really built into our user experiences and the journeys that we take customers on simple, quick tools that will allow them to take action in the way they want to, but also is financially stable for them too.
Giving consumer control.
Yes.
Yeah, I like it. How is Val AI technology and data insights creating powerful change in the physical environments of where we live, work and are educated?
Oh, great question. So we recently did some work with the City of Adelaide actually on a pilot initiative for themselves. They had some grants available to residents who live within the Adelaide CBD in order to help them electrify their homes. So what they found is that they'd had these grants running for a number of years and had been reasonably successful, but they hadn't had a tremendous amount of uplift. A lot of citizens didn't know that these grants existed, or there's a barrier to them actually taking the grants up. So we ran a successful campaign with them over a summer period where we delivered free home health checks to their residents, allowing them to be able to be connected with hardware installers here in Adelaide that would come and give them a quote and then assist them with getting the hardware in the home. And what we found was that by introducing a Val AI technology into the process, which was a self-assessment, a user tool they could access via the City Council's website or on an app, so it's mobile responsive, they got an enormous amount of intent from local community, including over 200,000 clicks on their social media sites wanting to find out more because the information didn't seem overwhelming and it allowed them to be able to take action, again, in the comfort of their own home, on their own timelines when they wanted to utilise our technology to help them look at what their actions would be. So that's a great example of how we're trying to deploy as much of our technology and data within the community, but also making sure that we are working with business customers in the way they choose to engage with their consumers. So the big thing is, with your bank or your insurer, they're your big financial decisions in your life. You're quite aligned to that brand. They're a trusted source of truth for you. So we found that in order to create the change, rather than trying to be a new brand on the market for Aussie consumers to try to build trust with, we were much better off going to the larger groups that you already have a level of trust intrinsically with, and being able to allow them to use our technology to talk to their consumers in order to be able to deliver the insights and the actions that they want.
And so what sort of questions are you asking the consumer?
Really, really simple ones. So Val AI, because we are a data company, we have a whole heap of our own proprietary models and algorithms. There's a whole bunch of data sets that we already have on Australian homes through third-party suppliers. What we do is we ask you to just validate if the information we have on you is correct. And if there's a gap of information, so if you've renovated your home or made some changes recently that haven't been documented before anywhere, then we can get you to input those updates of information. And a really neat example of that is through a partnership of ours that we have with a group called Tree. They provide open energy data through CDR status here in Australia. All those buzzwords mean that we can now, through our tech, provide a consent so that when you're asked to give me information about your property, I don't ask you any personal details about yourself. We're not looking to capture that. Instead, we ask you where your property address is located, and then you can give us permission, if you like, for us to access your energy consumption from your house in the last 12 weeks. That then instantly allows us to be able to calculate a whole heap of information that we can display back to you about your home, including what your carbon footprint is of your home. And also we can then give you some really tangible info on, are you an energy guzzling household? How do you compare to your neighbour? And then based on how much you're paying for your energy and also how much you're consuming, what are the things we could do to your home to bring those bill costs down straight away?
What impacts do you believe AI is having, and what's the future?
I've heard there's doom and gloom when it comes to AI, and I've heard a lovely speaker reference it as being there is the utopia of AI and there is the dystopia of AI. And depending on what your viewpoint is, AI is going to get us to either one of those options. So AI is either going to enable us rapidly and efficiently to be able to do our jobs better so that we can transform our societies in a way that's good for all. Or conversely, AI is going to take over our lives and be controlling us in the future. So it could create a really bad environment for us. I am a little bit more, I'm not skeptical, but I think where AI plays a really important role is it's just an additional tool in our tool belt in order for us to make sensible decisions. So I don't see AI in the future being something that we should rely on as the source of truth, but instead it should be an enabling tool to help us speed up human-based decision-making.
And how do you think all of this is going to affect our physical, psychological and emotional well-being?
Oh, I think we need to stop saying...
Because we could go two ways, couldn't we?
Yeah. I think as humans we keep saying, how will it affect us in the future? I think a better way of reflecting on it and a more important question is, how has it already affected and influenced us? So I've got kids. They've grown up with these kinds of abilities to be able to use this software. We all, whether we realise it or not, have AI algorithms on every social media platform that you choose to be a part of, unless you're off the grid. And I think it's highly influenced if you look at our social media marketing, buyer and consumer habits. I think there is an enormous way in which it's already completely transformed the way we do stuff. And for better or worse, sometimes I find we simply go along with it because it's presented to us as opposed to challenging decisions. So as a scientist, we were always taught to critically analyse anything and to, instead of making an assumption, go and gather as much research data as you can from many sources and then come up with your own decision based on all the available information. And I think we probably should be doing that with AI a little bit more than we are today.
Well, we're part of it and we don't really know we're part of it. That's a bit scary, isn't it?
Yeah, but do we know we're a part of it? But because it seems, it's TikTok and it's fun, it's harmless, it's no big deal. I don't have the answer there. I think
question everything.
Yeah.
And I think get our children to question everything.
Agreed.
And that's all you can do really, and make your own decision as to what you want to be part of and what you don't want to be part of.
That's right. And don't forget that feeding the algorithms is extremely important if we talk about biases. So when we talk about gender equity or inequalities, algorithms will continue to test and train themselves based on the available data. So if they are only ever getting data from a certain archetype, a certain data provider, that will influence how they provide information in the future. So particularly to women, non-binaries, those from different demographics, you should be engaging with these things as much as you can, because you will be participating in adding diverse data sets into these algorithms so that things aren't so perhaps gender biased in the future, but that all lenses of information are at least seen as being acceptable. There's some really great examples of that where AI has been asked to produce an image of a business person, for example. And of course, you can make some assumptions of what they've assumed that is. And unfortunately, it's much more biased than what we as a human may have actually done if we were interpreting that. So we do need to challenge it. And the way we can challenge it is by engaging with it more and more, particularly as women and people from diverse backgrounds.
How can we use the physical environment and technology to improve our health and well-being?
I would like to, of course, plug my company and say that there are some Home Efficiency Australia tools on the Australian marketplace today that can help you make decisions about your home and habits and help you look at bringing your electricity costs down, reducing your carbon footprint. The other way is that when you are purchasing a property or you are looking to rent it or at the time of sale, you should be questioning, what is the carbon footprint of this home? What is the energy performance of this home? Making sure that you're considering how healthy is this household, or what's the level of comfort within this house, draft proofing, etc. Those questions should be engaged right now with real estate agents, with property professionals when you're going in and out of built environments. And of course, in your workplace, you should be, of course, expecting the same. So if you're coming into a workplace, you have every right to be challenging, what's the performance of this building? Do we have natural light? those things are minimum requirements that we should have so that we are healthy and happy and live our best life.
Today, what has been the most impact your work has done to make a positive behavioural change for people and the planet?
Oh, I've never achieved as much as I want to. So I will always be unhappy with where we've gotten to date. Right now, our technology is used by a major insurer in Victoria for their members and others. And where we're finding direct benefit is particularly within a demographic of older Australians, where they can have a home energy efficiency report delivered for them. So if you're not tech savvy, you don't want to be on your phone, there is a level of trust barrier there with using an app when it's presented to you. We also have people that can use our software one-to-one, face-to-face with another human. And I think that human contact is an impact metric that we're starting to track now internally at Val AI, because we're finding for some parts of society, they actually really enjoy having a person come to their house, consult with them, walk around and then present them with information on the day. But we also provide a report that they can take away and print and have a look at later. And for us, we've found that the decision-making to make an intervention to purchase some hardware or change the way they're managing their existing house, it needs that level of face-to-face contact for those decisions to be made, particularly for marginalised groups or older Australians, so that it can help them understand it, but also more importantly, they understand the financial implications of it so that they can be comfortable with the decisions that they're making. And that's a real impact metric that we're really proud of, to be able to say we've been able to work with those groups, and that our user experience, we are always changing based on what our clients or the feedback is that we get. And so we did see that there was a real need in Australia to be able to offer something that a consumer can talk to an expert about before they make a decision.
A real human experience.
A real human
experience. I love it. What's next for Allys Todd and Val AI and the transformative climate tech mission you're on?
Oh, so many things that I want to do. We've definitely got some great things in our roadmap that are coming up, and quite a few that we've already been able to deliver. For us, we have a new financial services customer, and we're working with them and Harvard's behavioural science team on a new digital calculator tool or an app-based initiative for their banking customers. It's all under wraps at the moment, but it's been super exciting, and I'm excited about that because it'll mean that up to 1.6 million Australian households will be able to access our technology. It will also mean that we'll be able to validate that parts of the way in which we take you through an experience have been validated by Harvard's behavioural science team. So we're really looking at how do we increase social norms and what are the right ways for us to be nudging you towards making sustainable upgrades to your houses, and even just introducing the concept to within the banking and finance sector that the bank actually is interested in knowing how sustainable and healthy and comfortable your household is. And the financial comfort is just one part of the comfort. So really introducing and embedding climate action into our economic systems in a way that rather than it being something green on the side that they have to do for ESG reporting, it's actually embedded in the way they choose to do business going forward.
Cool. And greenwashing and all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
How are you using technology in creative ways, and what are you coming up with that's new to change people's health and well-being?
All I can say is we're really excited from an impact metrics perspective that one, it's a tier 1 financial services provider in Australia, a well-known brand. Through their due diligence, they saw the benefit of working with Val AI. So that really validated not me, but the technical team and my product team that I have. Their skills are fabulously recognised now. The ability for my team to just collaborate and iterate and work.
So it's around energy efficiency, is it?
Yeah, so it's a home energy efficiency tool that allows you to rapidly, in the space of 2 minutes on an app, identify your home's performance, confirm the energy savings you could have with the first action you would be able to take, and then the bank allows you to take that action with a channel partner who will get you up to 3 quotes within 2 minutes. So this is about, just like in Australia, kind of instant home loans or instant personal loans was quite a big thing about 5 to 6 years ago, where you can get instant approvals. This is us connecting, or the bank will be able to connect you to hardware suppliers that can supply to you that hardware in one seamless transaction. And then we can even provide you the data of how much energy we think you'll save or money you'll be saving as a result of that. The trial we're doing is validating that consumers do want to take action.
Is that like electricity providers and those sort of things?
Yeah, so mainly hardware providers. So the intervention measures that we can supply nationally through supply chains. So that's solar, batteries, heat pump technology, a reverse cycle, split system air conditioning, a couple of really neat energy retailers, as well as those that also have different types of personal finance available to be able to fund it. What isn't included is an actual personal loan through that institution yet, but this is really with Harvard, we're working with them to determine how Aussie consumers best make decisions when it comes to their home and sustainability, and that will inform new products and services that the bank will be able to offer their existing customers.
And that will coincide with any grants you can get from the government and all of that sort of thing. And
100%. So our suppliers, part of Val AI's offering is that we, in all of our ROI or information we give you of the benefits of upgrades, we include what all of the federal government rebates are, and our suppliers are those that are approved to actually give you those rebates as part of the experience. So a real barrier to Australian households at the moment is if you want to get an upgrade, there's a process with your council, a process with your state government, and another process with the federal government to get these rebates. And that's an arduous, long, paper-based experience.
And then people don't want to do it because it just becomes too hard.
That's right.
So if they've got the backing of a few people and it makes it easier, then why not?
Yeah, so we want to take all of the paperwork and all those barriers that people have out of the process. And so by utilising our tool through our banking partner, we identify how your house could be improved, what would be the best measure for you to take to improve it. We connect you with a group who can make that improvement and install the hardware, and they will take care of the granting and rebating for you in that process. So it means there isn't photographs and updating of paperwork. It is merely contracting that contractor, and those rebates will be deducted from your bill.
And what about things like windows and those sort of things?
Yeah, so our tool also identifies all of the different pathways that you can upgrade. So yes, triple glazing is the norm in other countries. It isn't here on any built environment. Insulation, there's about 7 other intervention measures you can take.
So that you can reach a certain level of 7-star or whatever.
That's right. Yeah. What we do have in Australia vastly is many, many different installers. So for Val AI, what's important is
trained installers.
So if we don't give you we might tell you that the best intervention or the top performing intervention measure for you is double glazed windows. At this stage, we don't provide you with the details of one. We instead say you're better off finding one in your local area that can support your needs, just because there isn't the supply chain in Australia of mass producers who can deliver that. It's more important that you go and find somebody locally to get that quality assurance on what you're having done.
That's all I have.
Fantastic.
Thank you. It's been incredible speaking with you and gaining insights into climate tech.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Not a problem. Thank you. I hope you've enjoyed the latest episode of The Felt Experience. I'm Melissa Henschke, your host. Thank you for tuning in. Please leave any queries, questions you may have on the various platforms you've tuned in through. We look forward to seeing you next time.